Ta-da. All right, John. Good morning.
Did you write down the solidarity syndrome of the leadership?
Yes. You mean singularity?
Singularity. Yes. There's a scripture.
It'd be so nice. I was thinking like 2 years ago, John, like a little bit into us starting a podcast. I'm like, man, I need AI so bad for like doing like producing and stuff that I'd be like, hey, let's, tell it to. One, actually, I wanted to do AI for the purposes of switching the camera around, which I think would actually work probably pretty easy. It would just need to have some sort of indication of who's talking, but I guess it could also read the lips of the person, and then it goes, oh, yeah.
I had a dream last night of a thing that was kind of had no legs, but it kind of was shaped like a seat, kind of, sort of, and it was gold, but it could shape into anything it wanted to. It was AI, and you could have it do whatever you wanted it to do. It would do, no matter what it was. I was like, what the heck? But it's just because I've been farting around with AI.
Oh, I see. So you're
because of you.
Because of me, yes.
Because of you, I fart around with it, and I've conquered AI as far as I know what it can do and what it can't do. And one of the things it can't do is be human.
Well, there's certain things that it cannot do. Number one, it cannot how to describe it? It can't it really now, I swear I did not have this problem a year ago, but it has a really hard time now of creating something new. In other words, taking concept A, concept B, smashing it together and coming up with something that's uniquely different. I think it has a really hard time with that. I think it
can do a comparison and give you some points, but it can't come up with...
Correct. Yeah, I think it could definitely do analysis. That's what you're talking about, analysis.
Yeah.
Because I've needed it to do gap analyses for me, and it did not do it very good. Sometimes it kind of can, but it's pretty weak on that. So that's one. So that is, I could say that's a probably very uniquely human, like that's of like the soul, not of the body, for example. Like the superhuman, that's the word I'm looking for. Like that's coming from something that's beyond rationality.
Yeah.
And two, I've also noticed that it will never be able to make judgments that are good. It just can't. And I know there's this topic is like never ending for me. One, because I do it for a living, and then two, I use it all the time at a very intense level in design things that like work with it and have to work, powered by it. And I've just come to find that people really don't know what this thing is, and they've let their imaginations go wild. And which is fine. I've certainly have done the same. But I personally believe that we've already kind of seen the end. Like it's not going to do this new backflip that we're not anticipating. I actually don't believe any of the hype. I don't believe anybody who's a billionaire plus that talks about any of this stuff. They're so disconnected from reality at this point. They have no idea what this thing is actually capable of doing. And so I'll read all these newspaper articles or whatever, or blog posts on, oh my gosh, they were able to do this, or AI turned on people and, it blackmailed them. And people take this stuff way too seriously. The day that people start letting AI really just kind of autonomously run amok, so to say, in some capacity, they're going to find out that tool, it just can't do that. That's not what it's for. It is a specific little Lego block for doing fuzzy choice making with a big context. But what's crazy to realize, especially I've started to realize, is how large... When I say context, you know what I'm talking about in terms of AI?
Yeah.
It's basically like the textual information that it has as background that, you've talked to it for an hour and then you say, give me the answer, right? It has all of that stuff that it then uses to go in. And it's both amazing at its ability to go through that specific context and pull information out. But on the other hand, it still is a tiny context because I will come to find that I will have the whole conversation and then I will say like go, and it's still missing all sorts of stuff that I know things about.
Well, I found out that it couldn't go, but 2 days I didn't deal with this one thing with AI, and I said, a couple days ago we were talking about something. I can't go back and find that. That's not in my, unless you tell me to store it somewhere, then I can go back into storage.
Correct.
But I can't just go back 2 days and figure out what we did or talked about. I can't do that. I said, why not? Because you didn't tell me to. Basically.
Are you using Claude or are you using ChatGPT?
ChatGPT now.
Yeah,
I was using Claude, but Claude got weird.
Yeah, Claude's not that great. They come and go, and
Claude got kind of weird on me.
With ChatGPT, and you got to remember we were talking about this before that there's the large language model and then there's all this programming on top. The programming on top is what gives it that capability. And ChatGPT has some feature in it called like memory or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Now, I don't like any of that kind of stuff personally because it's not clear to me behind the scenes what it's doing. And to me, it's not useful.
It's not clear.
If what it's going to do is it's going to do some sort of summary going like, the old man was yelling about X, Y, and Z, and then storing that as its memory. And then when it comes back and pulls from it, it's really not that helpful.
Yeah. I agree. So, my little topic today is Psalm 68:6 says, God sets the solitary in families. He bringeth out those which are bound to change, but the rebellious dwell in a dry land. And we'll get to the second part later.
So California?
Yeah. Or the Sahara or some other Middle East. So, the solitary technically means the alone, the isolated, without family support, that kind of person. Very solitary, very cast out and all by himself. And it says he sets the solitary in families. And I'm hearing some things that I didn't hear before when I was thinking about this, even about AI. In one sense, AI is one solitary thing. There's different names for it, and it's in different avenues and venues. It's used all over the place. But the name of it, AI, is sitting all by itself. It's just what it is. It's a solitary thing. Even though it's multi-used and multifaceted in different usages and venues and programs and where it's been launched, it's still AI. And the Lord gave me the scripture when 16, 18 years ago, when I got divorced and went through all that and everything, and the Lord put me in with a family in Delaware, to God's grace, to help me get healed. And the healing took interconnection. The healing took iron sharpens iron kind of thing. It was needed for me, it was needed for everybody to be in a place where you can have conflict, but resolutions with the conflict. So there's a scripture also in somewhere it says, if there's no cattle, the stall is clean. There's no cows, call it stall is clean. So the question is not to go out and count to see if you got cows and count them. No, if you got a stall, yeah. Is it dirty? Yeah, then you got cows. It's kind of like a matter of fact thing. It's kind of like another verse says, how shall two be warm in bed except there's two? It's practical. There's two in bed, you can get warmed up. So it also says, if you're with a scratchy, crotchety, nag, hag of a wife, you might as well go be in the attic. You'd be better off in the attic. So, it's kind of practical. So, no comment. But what are
you referring to? Is this Psalms? What are you referring to?
Well, I'm in Psalm 68.
No, I know that, but those like little things you're talking
Proverbs.
about, those are Proverbs.
Yeah.
Okay, I hadn't got to those.
I'm sorry,
yet.
Proverbs.
It's all good. I kind of figured as much.
Proverbs, high into Proverbs 30 or 28, whatever. So the problem with the singularity deal going on in the church today, and in any church that I can see, is if I walked up to the leader, I don't care who, it could be Joel Osteen, it could be Bob Bratt, it could be Joe Dokes, it could be anybody, and I said to him, sit down a minute, I want to ask you one question. You're going to drop dead within 6 seconds. What happens to the church? Almost every time and invariably, the church wanes, falters, fades out, because it's singularly wrapped around one person. There's one main character. And what problem with that is
Yeah.
we lose the connection. I mean, the leader loses the real connection that he needs. God forbid that he gets rich, because then he's off doing whatever he wants to and having fun, and then he really likes it. But you lose. And God said, "No, we can't. It's not good for man to be alone." There's another scripture back in Genesis, because solitary, is extremely not good. And if the church is based on one personality, and that personality goes poof, is gone by death usually, what happens to the church? What happens to everything? Oh, some people try to come in and fill in. Have you ever noticed anyone that's ever tried to come in and fill in didn't work? And so it never works unless it's an actual son. There can be sons that take the place of dad. But even if dad died, the church is really in trouble. If the church, even if the son takes over, the church is in trouble, because the church is based on the apostles, prophets, and doctrine. It's based on the apostles' teaching, which is saying the fivefold ministry and the fact that we are connected with one another. And you can't have iron sharpening iron if there's no iron. If there's no crap in the stall, there's no cows. If nothing's happening, if you got cows, you got crap in the stall. But if you don't have cows, the stall is clean, and that's not good. And so, well, I don't want to get too close with the people, and I don't want, it gets too messy. Yeah, exactly. That's the idea, is to get it sometimes it has to be messy. And sometimes the church has to be messy. And I don't know if you've ever, what move of God you've been into, but I've been at the airport vineyard. I've been at the airport, the Pensacola, the Kansas City, all kinds of them, that the church was anything but orderly, but it was alive and messy, and good things were happening. I'm telling you, weird things, messy things, but we're so geared to let one guy be in control and keep this under control and don't rock the boat, and we lose a fundamental need that the church needs. Family life is messy. Just you and your wife by yourself alone, go do things, ha ha ha. You get 5 kids, 4 kids, 3 kids, whatever, whole different story. Messy house, messy rooms, the whole life becomes messy. But without those kids, you're not really a family, and without those kids, so we have to have some kind of messiness by getting rid of this singular leadership that says, I'll do this, I do that, I do that. He's like the CEO of every. There's an old Rogers philosophy about how to set up, or it's Roguet, I guess it's called, from France. Roguet way to set up churches, and that the pastor is the CEO of every meeting and of every department in the church. That's a bunch of bullcrap. It comes from worldly.
Oh yeah,
that's baloney. And so what happens is we lose the messiness, and that's where life is. Yeah, some kids crap their diapers. We got to clean up diapers, but I remember all my kids did, and I'm proud of all 4 of my kids. They're great kids. They're great people doing great things. They're great. A couple of them have problems, but I mean serious ones. But that's okay. They're human beings, and they've gone on. So would I take it back and no kids, no messy diapers? No, you wouldn't. You didn't like it at the time, but we have to open up to all kinds of crap and all kinds of stuff going on that we don't like. We're not in control of this messiness, and we don't like it. And singular leaders, are very dangerous because they can go off on a tangent, or they can be in control and keep the Holy Spirit from moving. They can probably the whole thing is being in control. So I'm in control. You get out, you rock the boat. Oh, we can't do that. You rock the boat. We can't do that. It's interesting when Jesus took the disciples across the Sea of Galilee. You've never been there, right?
No.
It's a big sea. I mean, it's not. You can see the other side, but you got to pay attention. It's way, way over there, and it's not as big as Lake Ontario, but it's big. So there's huge, monstrous storms over that sea sometimes. Jesus said, "Let's go to the other side." They hop on a boat, and you would think he'd sit and have coffee with the guys on the boat, and a couple of guys are rowing, and they're on their way to go across the sea. And a great storm comes up. And where's Jesus? He's asleep in the boat. I've talked this before. He didn't have to be in control. He didn't have to shuck and jive with the boys. He just didn't have to. He was at peace with his Father and cool. And he knew he could handle any situation that would take place if it took place. And that's the kind of thing, and he had to teach those guys that. They didn't learn this till later. Then they had to learn it in a hard way. But I guess my main point is there are sometimes it's not a whole church board that's upset with you. It's just you upset with uncontrollable stuff. It's you that are standing in the way. I'm not talking about you or me, but I'm talking to you in the camera. You're the one that's in the way. You're the one that won't allow it.
Oh, I've been in the way many times.
Yeah, and you don't believe that you can allow that to happen because it might cause a problem or someone might get upset. Or so what? Who? I doubt that God led you to stand in the way of a bunch of stuff that God wanted to do in His church. Yeah. I'm sorry, but you may think so, but I know. You're not called to stand in the way. I better be here and do. I remember one elder told this pastor, "Well, I'm the guy that has to watch over and make sure you don't go off rails." Who told you that? This guy's there was deceit, and he ended up rebelling, and now he doesn't do anything, have anything to do with God or anything, because I can't stand those people. You're the one that's got the problem.
Yeah, John. There's whenever like these kinds of topics, I pull from certain kinds of leaders, fictional leaders, that have certain kinds of characteristics of like, you see like their role and how they've set up, right? So this is something that is far enough arm's way. So it's not personal, right. It's not whatever. So you can kind of see a model. And what's really interesting sometimes to me is to see that human consciousness in arguably just normal people have this model in their mind of what leadership is, but then they try to go pull it in real life. They have no ability, or even all of a sudden it goes away. But they have the ability to create these kind of characters and put them in certain kinds of situations. And of course, they'll try to add some flaws to them, try to make them whatever. But there's this game out there, which it's a certain kind of. There's a whole genre of games that some people don't know about that are like they're like almost a TV show, slight interaction. So it's like an interactive kind of choose your own adventure, but it's like a TV show. So there's much more like acting and like drama and stuff like that. And it's just, it'd be like playing a game that is a whole TV show series. So anyways, there's this game called Detroit. And I picked it up pretty recently. I've seen it for years now. And I was like, finally I got it for like $9 or whatever. It's a game that goes and tries to play with the gray chewiness of what if you live in a world where we have like these robots that are human-like. And they eventually kind of tip over into this exhibiting kind of free will components. What does this world look like, and what kind of choices you would have or whatever. So at one point, one of the robots, he is like a normal person, and he ends up getting kind of like outcasted, and he like kind of comes back, and he's kind of disillusioned, and then he kind of finds his way to this sanctuary where these other robots are. I'm trying to think what the term is. I don't use the word robot, but he eventually becomes like the leader of the robots. So this like gets to your point. So what is he doing, John? Is he controlling each individual person. What he's actually doing is he sets the direction that they're going. So like at one point, he's like gathering people to like go on this march, right? So kind of like a civil rights type march or whatever. And because he's a robot, obviously he can like communicate with people like kind of telepathically, not people, other robots or whatever. So you're like walking down the street and you can turn to like robots with their like human masters or whatever. And you can be like, come this way, come that way. And he's like assembling this crowd, but it's the crowd that's doing all the stuff. He's just at the center that's just bringing them in. We're going this way. And they're like, should we keep going? We're about to get attacked. And he's like, yes, we're going to keep going. You got all these different choices. And one is like, attack. He's not attack. I mean, he will lead the attack to attack, but it's about the other people attacking the attack. Yeah. That is leadership. That is what leadership looks like. It looks like that guy, the only effort that he is doing to do the work or to do the thing is only for the purposes of encouraging other people to do the same. That's it. There's no reason. So for example, like at a church, the pastor, for example, should be the kind of person that if he sees a piece of trash on the ground, should go over and pick it up. But you know what he should do? He should say something to people every single time to tell them, I'm not just picking up the trash. You can't see me do that. You be the one to pick up the trash. He's not picking up the trash to clean the place up. That's not why he's doing it. He's doing it to set the culture that everybody should pick up trash. Even me, I'm not above picking up the trash. I can pick up the trash. You can pick up trash too, right? You saw it. You saw the trash was on the ground. That's the only reason they should be doing any work, period. Full stop. Other than that, it's encouraging other people to go do the thing.
Yeah, I think that is legitimate. The only thing I find interesting in some of these games is that when it talks about a robot being disillusioned, then he works away and he finds his way to what he's going to do. I say to myself, see, AI can't have illusions, so they can't be disillusioned.
True.
They can't have illusions.
Yeah, there's some truth. There's a lot of truth to that. I think. Yeah.
And so disillusioned, confused, not sure what to do next. Maybe.
I mean, that's why this is solid sci-fi, and for sure, this was a fan. I was sitting there playing it with my wife, being like, I cannot believe we waited this long to play this. This is freaking amazing. This is like such an awesome story. So well executed.
But what you're saying is, and the scriptures give us an example of the church which is his body. He may not be. You ever seen that movie where they open up the head and there's this little guy controlling the whole body? I can't remember what that is.
Men in Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That little thing is, and it's just this little thing cleaning the whole body. Well, it's not really him doing it. It's his hand. He's directing the hand, directing the legs to walk. He's kind of like the director, but he's not doing it. It's not him. It's the things that he directs to do it.
A director's a good example.
Yeah, and the body is actually doing it. And the body gets credit. And there's another scripture that talks about, the body says the hand doesn't want the foot. Well, if the director doesn't tell the foot where to go, you're not going to do nothing.
Perfect example. Okay, so you brought that up. Let's hammer this home. So let's talk about the movies. You talk about like I don't know. Name your movie. Let's say Terminator 2, right? Who? And I mean not in the movie. I don't care about the content of the movie. I'm talking about like the people that made the movie or whatever. Who is the leader of the movie? You know who it's not? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is not the leader of that movie.
No, he's just a part.
It's whoever is. Who's it? John. Who's the
Ford?
It's not Steven Spielberg. He didn't do that.
No, it's Ford, wasn't it? I don't know. I can't remember.
No. It's what's his name? No, not John Connor. Goodness gracious. Give me the. James Cameron.
Yeah.
James Cameron, who is the director, is the leader of that group of people who's doing it. Show me in the movie where James Cameron did any work. Nowhere to be found.
Well, you can't even tell. You can't even watch from the outside him putting a movie together. He's telling people what to do.
Yes, and why that matters is he was, I'm certain, intimately involved in the orchestration of the entirety of the thing. And guess what? He gets no credit for it. He's not even able to be found in the thing. So my wife and my kids, they've never seen that movie, but it doesn't matter what the movie is. They're gonna pick out the people who were most seen, who do the work. But those people were guided to do the work.
Yep.
And were put in the places that they were by some other person.
That's why if you keep that thought, that kind of thinking, that's why it says, and he gave some to be apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, leaders. He didn't say that this one guy is only the apostle and only he is the apostle and he's the apostle and apostle.
Oh.
It doesn't say that. It's kind of getting across that I gifted different men to be directors in this field, whether it's a movie, whatever it is. The leader is kind of behind the scenes, and if you're living for Jesus, you're not doing it for your own accolade or anything. You're doing it for the body to be a force in the body. And so someone asked me, what are you doing in church? I go, well, I don't go to church to get stuff. I go to church to give. I find people to touch. I find people to encourage. Oh. Why do you do that? That doesn't really, how does that help anything for the church at large? I go, well, we'll see, because years down the road, someone will get up and thank God for what he did in his life and say, it was way back when that somebody encouraged me. It was way back when that somebody helped me. Somehow, we got to get away from trying to be the singular one in charge. I'm the pastor. I'm the evangelist. I'm the prophet. I'm the apostle. Well, yeah, okay, but nobody, basically, Paul said, I am an apostle, but he didn't say, I'm the apostle Paul, the one, the main. He didn't do that. He kind of got across the fact that the gifting that I've been given has caused the direction of the church even to this day.
It's funny. This goes back to identity, right? That's what the and am is.
Oh, my goodness.
Right, so am is it's a non-exclusive identity. In other words, you can be more than one thing if you are something.
Yeah.
But if you are you're the only one that is that. So in other words, you've basically created an exclusive thing that you are that and no one else is that. Therefore, people will pick up on this, John, and I know this is the point you're getting at, and then they won't do it. I am the person who picks up the trash.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't need to pick up trash anymore.
Because he's the trash picker.
Yeah, he's the trash guy.
Okay. Yeah.
And they won't lift a finger.
That's extremely important in the church too. Because, if he does it, I don't have to.
That's right.
Well, he's got the pastor, then I don't have to. Oh, well, yeah, but you got to get away from that. He's a pastor. He's gifted in shepherding and caring for people and giving them direction. But he's not the shepherd.
Yeah, that's
the main shepherd is Jesus, and he can handle it because he doesn't even live for himself. He's kind of living for the Father. The whole principle in the church is living for someone else, living for something else, not for yourself. In fact, I've noticed too, when I live for myself and I'm into myself, I definitely do one thing you can 100% count on. I am going to do self things. And I will be selfish.
Yeah.
And I'll be self-centered because that's all self can do. That's all self can do. And if you want to do something outside of self, it's going to have to be through the Christian influence and Christ working in your life. The difference is sometimes the Lord tells me to do this, and I go do it, and that was the Lord. And I go, wasn't me. He just came out of the blue, and I did it. That is outside of me. Other than me, and that actually turns out to be a better thing than myself doing stuff. Because I take care of myself. Even the Bible says in Romans, no man doesn't love his own flesh. Man loves his own thing, his own and I love it. And some people, they think they try to be held holy and Christian by saying, I don't like myself, and I don't like. Give me a break. Your opposite of Scripture says no man doesn't love his flesh.
It's funny, John. We really, obviously you weren't here this last week, and maybe it's good because I was like a little frazzled or whatever. But it would have been this topic was my last week because I'm dealing so intimately with a person who does not understand this, and that they don't get that every time that they do the things that they do, and they're doing and they're doing it as many leader types.
What if he died?
Oh, it's over. It's over.
What's over?
That project. The project's over.
The project is over if he died.
The project is over.
So,
and it's funny, John, because they kind of think right now that I'm like his replacement. No.
yeah.
No. And I found out this week, I found out why. One, I'm not going to fill his shoes. I never thought I was going to fill his shoes, but nor would I want to. But why he's the way that he is. And now I'm starting to see these patterns. You know, EJs know, they make these statements. Well, yes, but how does the ego, how's that there? What it is I was looking in his, I just happened to look at his email signature line. I'm the kind of person that doesn't have an email signature line. I don't care. I manually write my name on every single email instead of automatically having it there. Because if you automate that kind of stuff, you put certain things in. So what he put, John, was he put that he is a subject matter expert of A, B, and C. I don't know if you've ever dealt with a corporate subject matter expert. They're bad.
Only my
they are,
my brother worked for one.
They're like PhDs. And he doesn't have a PhD, but
no, I know.
I'm kind of surprised that he doesn't.
They're equivalent though of a
but they're kind of worse because and so what these people do is they gain power and they basically have collected the information and so that they know more than other people and they're valuable as a result of that. And what they do is they don't necessarily say like I know and you don't. Like that's not quite how it is.
But they say I'm the guy.
They definitely do. And it goes into their consciousness. And so they start to treat everybody like crap and no one can do anything about it. And the more that person turns into the expert that's been there for like 20 years, they become untouchable. And the reality is they're not that good. They know about those specific things.
Yeah.
And so what I'm experiencing is this person has migrated over into a new realm where he was using his ideas to come up with this idea to solve a real problem because he can know that those are real problems. But he's the one solving it, John. He doesn't know anything about these topics. Nothing. But he thinks he does because he can use his logical problem solving to go and put these in place. And every day he touches something, I look at it and I go, this is exactly the machinations of a person who has no humility.
Yeah. I went to a church. A church exists today in Revere, Massachusetts. You go to talk to the pastor and the guy stops you and says, well, you want to talk to the pastor? Well, you have to talk to me first. And then we have to, who's we? Us 3, 4 guys.
Oh, yeah.
Well, who are you? We're his bodyguards. And my friend goes, oh, and he needs bodyguards?
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So when someone gets to that point, they put the on them. I am I'm the man, I'm the trash picker upper, and so once it's there, people go, no, I don't have to do that because he's the guy that does that. And that's what he wants.
That's true.
He wants to be that guy. And he says, I am the guy. I am the smartest. I am up here. And in leadership, that, what you just said, it puts people in a place where they don't really trust them. They don't really like them.
No.
They don't really want to. They don't really want to work there, but they have to because that's their job.
Yeah.
And so it turns into a real poor example of the church.
Oh, it's so bad, John. So here's the ramifications as a result of that, because that's the origin, right? He actually has a good idea that is worthy of a team coming around and actually grabbing it and getting and putting it into place. He has that, but he's in the way. He's put, because of his leadership skills, his ceiling on leadership is right here, but it needs to be here in order to make it. But he doesn't have those skills, and I've already realized that no one has ever checked this guy. And I'm the only person I think that's even close to checking him.
And they're afraid to do it.
They are afraid. So, and as a result, he has fed, because of he's taken over, like, I'm going to do all the hard work, and all the most important stuff. He's basically put that on his back, and it's down to one man doing it, and then everybody else on the team is totally throttled in that they have nothing to do. And I know from personal experience of being that guy. I actually love being in these situations where I get to see this leadership malfeasance, because it checks me personally. Because all of a sudden I go, dude, I am that person. That has got to stop in my personality ASAP. Because I get to see what's happening, where it's like, guess what? No one's going to pick up the trash because that dude's doing it. No one's going to do this because that guy's got it. And so what ends up happening is...
It's true way up there where you are. It's true way down in the little country church.
If
someone does it, that's the guy that does it. Well, why are you doing the announcement? Because I'm the guy that does the announcement.
And then they'll start doing it. And at first they'll be like, we need announcements, right? This is kind of a leadership filling a gap. Like, hey, there's announcements that need to be done. And he starts giving it. And then all of a sudden it turns into, well, I'm just the guy that does the announcements. Like, no. Yeah. Announcements need to be done, but it doesn't need to be done by the person who...
Yeah.
You maybe need to do it the one time, but then you need to go find somebody to fill that role.
And the people in the group are afraid to approach him because they don't have the strength to combat or come against this singularity syndrome. I'm the singular one that does that.
Yeah.
That's the singularity thing I'm talking about. And it becomes bad because we now, he died. Someone's got to do an announcement. So someone says, well, Bob, you go do the best you can, and he'll do it. And we find, Bob's even better at that than so-and-so. Because he died, we now get to hear. Yeah. Now we get to hear from Bob. Oh, Bob's pretty good. Bob dies, Al doesn't. Even Al's better. So I have a problem with this because in the church, it's like the Iranian people. There is no leaders. There are none. They're out. There's a few Revolution Army guys, and they kill you if they want to. Hopefully they'll find a leader. But really, it's basically decimated. But they're afraid to do anything because they've been living under that. This is the way it is, and these are the people who are in charge, and and they're afraid to do anything. Well, it's similar in the church.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's similar in the church. The leader dies. If Joel Osteen dies, it's the end of the largest church in the country. He's already lost 50,000 people lately. They have questions about his leadership. Duh. And no one's replacing him. Who is he replaced? Who is he built up become second?
Built up. That's what it's all about, John, because you got to be spending all this time and this crap is hard, especially like in technology, but maybe even in what you're talking about when you're talking about the sheer numbers of people, the complexity of all the things. That's why you cannot wait till the end. You actually have to start really early on handing over those jobs and going, at a minimum, you say, this portion is all yours.
Yep.
And whatever happens.
You can train them.
Yeah.
You can encourage them and train them, but you can't be in control of it because they'll never do it.
No.
They'll never.
And as a result, this is, I think, what the problem is with that type who's, you can call them kind of visionary, whatever. They get an idea of the vision, and they want to see the specificity on certain components. They want to see that come into being, and so that's what they're controlling. So they know that they can steer it because they can see it. But if you get somebody else to do it, one, like you said, it could actually be better. And here's the reason why. We didn't go over it. Because that's their only focus. If you're the leader and you have a whole thing, you have the whole.
Right. And that you could say that's their calling. That's their focus.
Yes.
So I have a vision of a whole bunch of people.
Shepherding an idea, for example.
Like in your group, there's a whole bunch of guys get together in this big room, say there's 30 of them, whatever. And there's the head guy, and he's there. And everybody's bickering back and forth what to do. We don't know what to do. Here's what a real director does. He goes to the one end of the room where everybody can see it, and he pulls down the screen of the beautiful picture of where we're going.
Yeah.
And everybody looks at it and goes, oh, that's where we're going.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the big picture. That's the vision. And then he puts it back up, and you guys get it? And so suddenly things begin to shape and come back.
That's holding the flag. That's what I've been talking about. That's holding that guide on. That's showing the vision so that they can recatch it, and then they can redirect their efforts in that direction.
Yep. And leadership, that's why without the vision, without the big picture, the people dwell without restraint. That means without restraining themselves toward that goal. They're just doing whatever.
Yeah, they just do whatever.
And you look at the church. I was just talking with Dennis the other day. The people are just happy to just do whatever, to be there and let him do his thing. And thank you very much. Sing a song. See you next week. And it's just over and over and over, week in, week. And I've been doing this for years, and I'm sick of it. Year in, year out. Yeah. I'm going to go visit another church I just found another Sunday or two, because I want to see what God is doing elsewhere, because we can't be the only ones. Some people think, well, God's doing unbelievable. We're the best. You guys never got out. You guys got to get out. You guys need to get out more.
There's a lot of truth to that.
And leaders, listen to me. If you're autocratic, if you're the one that's going to do the job, if you're doing it, they won't do it. That's all there is to it. It happens way up in technology. It happens in high-end government. If Trump did everything, none of his guys would do anything. But he turns them over and gives them, do this, do this. He's directing, I know, and he's kind of autocratic, I know. But at least he has a team that's directed toward this certain vision that he's sharing. And it breaks down in the government. But I'm telling you, it doesn't break down in the church. If you don't have a vision and you don't have the big picture and you're not showing those people, because once you show it to them, they go, oh, that's where we're going. Okay, that makes sense. Now we know what to do. We can go this road in order to go this road in order to get there. Even against the worst opposition, against the wind, a ship can go right into the wind and make progress. Why? Because the ship zigzags and use the power of that wind and that opposition to cause that boat to go places. And if you ever zigzag with a sailboat, you know what I'm talking about. It's not the opposition that's the problem. It's you don't know. No one trained you how to do that sailboat. And when you get trained how to do it, you go, well, wind is not a problem. We go anywhere. Even if we go right into the wind where the wind is coming from, we can get in there. Because you use the wind against it, and you use the wind to power yourself. So this kind of, if there's a singularity of leaders where he's the one. You remember that? What's that verse? Blue pill, red pill. What was that? That guy that Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Morpheus.
Yeah, and he goes, I think you're the one. And the whole movie was worked around, this is the one. He would come and break the pattern of this evil thing that's overtaking and controlling everybody. And he's the one that will make that happen. All right, he's the one. He's going to be used to break that thing, but there is no one. I can bring a pastor I know, Bob Walls, into my church and preach without even talking to him, and I know he will be great. I can bring Bob Sorge in, and he will be great. I can bring certain people in, and he will be. I'm not the only preacher, teacher in the body of Christ. There's many, and we can glean from that and enjoy it instead of being the one. Because what happens is people like you that are smart and been around can see the flaws and the attitudes and go, that's not quite so great. If only if only somebody showed this video to your guy that you're talking about, and he sat there and listened to it all and went, whoa, I guess I am kind of, and he woke up, that would be a real great thing. But it never happens. It seems like it never happens because maybe it's too hard to make happen. But I believe that we have to rock the boat, brother. We have to rock the boat.
I asked John, I think it was 2 weeks ago, have you ever seen anybody change before? And it's a real question.
Next time. So the other topic we're going to do.
it's still an open question of whether or not. I assume the answer is yes, right? So there's a lot of transfer. This is like transformation. That's what we're really talking about, and I'm sure the answer is true. But the Bible tells you how it happens. There's a certain conditions that have to be the case. Humility is the number one thing. You have to have humility. You have to have humility. So what is humility? You have to be open that the ways that you have are not the ways.
You got to be teachable.
And then to that, which is you have to have ears to hear. So if you do not have ears to hear, and you're not humble, willing to change what you're doing, you literally cannot change. So these kinds of people that have been weaseled their way, it's kind of an opinionated word, weaseled their way to being at like the heart of these organizations and built these cocoons around them of people who are afraid of them or whatever. They do not have ears to hear. They don't. They're successful. They're successful at bullying people around and whatever. But I'll tell you what.
Or the world is paying for what they do.
The closest it comes is I know that I could say to them, do you want the situation where you're not doing everything? Because they're stressed out. Like that dude, I think I was telling you, he's working at like 2 a.m. on a Saturday on this stupid project. This project, first of all, this project ain't that big and it ain't that interesting to be worthy of doing that. Now, he's getting enjoyment out of some of that, but he's now getting mired in all this stuff, by the way, that is in my camp. He's taken over all the stuff in my job. So I've basically sat back and just let him do it. And I'm waiting for him to get out of the way because I'm not gonna fight for that work. Why? Why am I gonna fight for it? I don't have what he has in terms of like, I do have there's things that I like to build and I want to work on. They're very different than his kind of things. They're actually very complementary. But if he doesn't value that, that's his hell. And so he's spending all of his time doing the stuff that I do on a day-to-day basis, and he's hating life over it. And it's like, well, the day you leave this and get out of the way is when it's over. So that would be the only angle that I could even sell it. But I'd have to tell him, hey, you get this, but you got to drop that. And he's like, no.
Yeah, no, it won't.
It's not going to happen. No. Because what needs to actually have happened is he's had to have a loose hand on all of it from the get-go.
So I'm saying, and I'm with a brother that I talked to, a pastor friend of mine, that told the brother, you can't make the adjustment and change until a major catastrophe happens to you in that situation.
That's right.
Some kind of big problem happens, big monkey wrench in the works. If you ever seen a monkey wrench thrown in a bunch of gears working on a motor, I mean, it's hell. Breaks up everything, and you have to stop, fix a few cogs, do a few adjustments, straighten out. That's what makes you start fresh again and learn a new thing. And I hate to say it, but I don't think catastrophes and tragedies and difficulties are anything but life-changing events for the good of the whole. I hate them. I don't like tragedy. I don't like catastrophe. But for the good of the whole, someone threw a monkey wrench in there to show them, a couple of things need to happen to break you up so that you can pay attention. And then when you pay attention, now you can start walking on the right road and you can start doing better. And that was what happened to me. And then I got together with Ginny and we went off and we ended up pastoring church. So I think that I don't know of any way. David with Goliath, David with Bathsheba, Moses with the Egyptian, on and on and on. These horrible events took place, 40 years in the wilderness. They caused them to be woke up, and it was for the good of the whole. Even though, Joseph was put to hell in prison, but he got pulled out to become the second in command in all of Egypt, which ended up feeding the people of Israel, his father and his brothers. It ended up being the saving of his family. And so he takes the solitary and he puts them in families. He doesn't put them out there to be the leader of the boat, stand out in front of the boat and be in charge. It's just retarded. But we don't know that until we learn the lesson. When we learn the lesson, we go, no, I don't need to be up front. It's okay. I'll just do what I'm supposed to do. You do what you're supposed to do.
Here's the kind of the catch, the vision, I think, kind of point to a lot of this. That SME is just another, I've had an even worse experience, but it's the same experience. When a SME goes into a leadership spot, bad things happen. Bad things happen. And I'm never gonna, I want to see where that's not the case, because they're going to choose me over leadership, which is I'm going to choose me knowing over the group being successful, because the moment you care about the group being successful, you're immediately going to have to get rid of I care about knowing the thing. That's a secondary thing. So I do need to know things, but I don't need to know more than the success of the group. So that's a SME problem. And so if we want to talk about identity and how this kind of wraps into it, I could see a SME if they chose if they caught the vision that about leadership and they're trending towards that, then I could see things turning around. But in general, back to this point with the singularity, those people are identifying with the problems or some sort of solution or some kind of thing rather than the identity of a leader who would then give them the humility that if they suck ass at it, they're going to have to change what they're doing in order to improve it. So the person you're saying that's like trying to hold him back, he's identified with that. He can't ever become a leader of that group because he's identified with that.
If you say to him, "Who are you?" he would explain that was his identity.
Correct.
And it's not a good identity. It's a bad one. You need a better one. So you need to have some serious things happen to you so that you can see that there's more to life and there's more to this whole thing than just you.
Yes.
And just you being in charge. That's not how it works. But this leadership stuff, you think we're playing around with this stuff, but it's very solid, true stuff that
it's kind of crazy.
That changes churches, and someday someone has to pull the blind down or the what do you call it, that screen, projector screen down, and there's the vision. And that way down in the middle of the picture is a little teeny nice cabin with the sun shining on it in the middle of nowhere in a beautiful area, mountainous area. There's the vision. That's what we're going toward. Yeah, that's not it. But you understand what I'm saying? Someone goes, "Oh, yeah, we're going that way." That's what the big picture is. And that begins to change people and say, "No, I need to do this in order to get there."
Well, it's hard. It's hard in a place where we live and like this. I don't think I've got any real great solutions. If anything, I've got much more of the my strategic view is that things are not going to improve from here because I think people already think that they're already way up. How do you get somebody, for example, how do you get somebody that thinks that they've already arrived to move in a direction of saying, no, drop the things that you already have and move there. It's like, dude, we're already here. We've already arrived.
Yeah.
You're
not going
that
anywhere.
is the challenge of the specific church that we go to.
Yeah.
I don't think that,
Yeah, once you arrived, there's no place to go.
There is no place to go. I think we have arrived. How does it, John, how does it, I mean, I ask these questions. What does look better, like here, like the various people here, like if they could just get the ideal within their lives, what would it even look like? The only thing I can think is like they live in their own better looking castle. Maybe they have slightly better land. They don't have to worry about money at all. They maybe have slightly nicer food. It's like it's the same thing, but it's incremental, and none of it matters.
And
they've already got everything.
If I got what I wanted, like you just described, all that stuff, and a better couple better cars, then
a car.
And I arrived, and I would say, man, I don't have to do nothing now. Just take care of me. I just got to take care of me. I just got to go have fun and spend my money, and I've arrived. The worst case scenario for a church, when it's arrived, there's no place for it to go. You just have to let that church burn down.
I mean, is it like
I'm sorry, but
I've got a contributive role? I mean, part of the mixture here is there's a lot of retirees, right? So their desire for contribution, they have a little bit more contribution, but they don't want to contribute. They want to I just want to take the trash out. And then I'm contributing. Like they want to contribute and they want like a little bit of a role, but they don't want like ownership role. They don't want crap to be difficult. It's like, dude, they're retired. They've already got it easy.
Wow.
They've got all their things. There's no real drive to do more. And that's fine. I'm actually not saying there's anything necessarily wrong with it, but I know the future of this place because I can see that is the predominance of most people. There's no bottom and middle that is like pushing to get to like something like that. They don't have, there's no, like this place, of course there's, it's not perfect. There's, sometimes there's homeless people and this and that or whatever. So from like the church spiritual side or the spirit of the arm, what do you do? I have no answers for this.
Well, again, I told you, until there's the guy He had zillions of dollars. He came here and bought 100 some acres. He built this gorgeous, beautiful house overlooking. He got horses out there, and he's overlooking the land. And there's one right down from the church, and a big brown house, a huge porch. He's arrived. He's got a great place, a beautiful setup, a ranch, and everything. And everybody drives by. Ooh, wow, that's really something. What's his name? Nobody knows. What does he do in the town? Nobody knows.
That's a great question. Yeah.
Where is he? What's up? Nobody knows. It's just there, but it's useless.
It is useless.
And if it were me and I was there, it would not be useless. I would use that in a lot of different ways.
You know who's not doing that? The Doe Valley guy. Do you know him? Dennis. I think his name's Dennis. Dennis Datino. I think that's his last name.
Is he the one with the Christmas trees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That perfect example.
He's got a zillion.
He bought that property so he can make it like the most party place in the county.
Yeah.
He's got
the barn?
He's got that amazing barn. Well, what he could do is he could have moved here, he could have retired, and he's just got this beautiful barn that he can just look at. But what he has is events in it all the time. All the time.
Is a what?
Events. He has events in that barn all the time. So
Like
in other
what?
words, he had like a Christmas thing, like multi-days.
He should have a square dance group in there.
He does. He's got like
Yeah.
he hosts the there's like a like he invites musicians to come, like for example me and my family, and then we'll like play in a group and stuff. He has craps there all the time. His whole year is centered around not just that barn, but just like his property, but primarily that barn. So when he put in that barn, he had the vision of this is a place that people will want to come to and they can have a good time. And so that's his whole thing.
Where is it again? I went there and saw his barn. I bought a tree there.
He's at that corner where Doe Elementary is, and you take that left where you're coming down the road. Doe Elementary is on the hill, right? And you're coming down.
Yeah.
And then there's a left that just kind of goes at a 45.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's just past
Beautiful
the
barn, beautiful setup.
So and so why did he build that? He did not build that for himself. That's why he's super successful.
Yeah.
By the way, he was a Marine.
Yeah, he was.
So
I sat and talked with him for a while. It's very interesting.
He is a leader and he has a positive attitude, and guess what? It is working for him. It has probably worked his whole life. So the whole point of all this is you could move here and you could do that, and that guy's name is pretty well known. You know who I'm talking about. There's other people that have put a nice barn in, no idea who they are. And when they leave,
well, where they are, what they're doing, or nothing. They're
nothing, not a darn thing. And they're fine and content with that.
Yep.
But
it's nothing.
It is nothing.
It's nothing. So, don't be singular and unapproachable and unteachable, and the rest of the people are afraid of you or to approach you because if they do, they might be buffeted or made to feel odd and rocking the boat. If you're that kind of leader, you need a catastrophe because that'll wake you up real fast. Hopefully. So that's where we're at.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we got no comments, John, because we weren't hammering comments the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because I was looking. Should have been like comments. Comment, hey, the one person watching, comment. They've all since dropped off, so no one can comment. But if you're watching this after the fact, you should comment on it.
Yeah, or on YouTube you can comment.
You definitely can comment on YouTube. All right. We'll see you next Saturday.
Praise God. See ya.